Part 20. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 191. Great Han Jiaojiao felt a little sorry for her friend who was stopped by the director but took the opportunity to run away. But then she found out the reason why Pei Xinyuan was stopped by the director. Now she looked at the hand of her friend. Regarding the new script, she suppressed the slight sourness in her heart and jumped up happily with Rong Yuyan. I said, this role should still be yours, even if someone takes it away based on your fame. So what, I have to return it in the end. Seeing that there were more and more people around, Pei Xinyuan quickly reached out and patted the back of Han Jiaojiao's hand. Okay, keep your voice low. But this matter really couldn't be kept low-key. The flow of information within the crew was faster than she thought. Yesterday, Zhang Ziyu fell and was hospitalized. In fact, many people have been quietly speculating that the role of Qing Yuan will be played by another actor. But everyone thought that the director would audition new actors again, but they never expected that a person who was originally just a stand-in for the leading actor would be directly selected from the crew to take up this responsibility. For a moment, the way he looked at Pei Xinyuan was a little different. I want to know more about how Pei Xinyuan seized this rare opportunity. Come back, the voice from behind made the two men suddenly freeze in amusement. Han Jiaojiao turned her head and saw the person coming. Her usually sharp tongue was no longer good at speaking now. Zhang, teacher Zhang. Pei Xinyuan has now changed into King Yuan's makeup. The dark blue palace dress looks more dignified on her body. Her small apple face has no blush and is so rosy that people can't help but want to pinch it. Zhang Lingzi takes a look. Looking at it, I just feel very comfortable. When Zhang Ziyu was dressed like this before, she felt awkward no matter how she looked at him. Now my eyes don't have to suffer anymore. I just heard this girl say, if it's yours, it's still yours. Pei Xinyuan was thinking about how to explain it. Han Jiaojiao saw that Zhang Lingzi had a kind attitude and was not at all as aloof and unoffensive in private as he was during filming. Instead, he was approachable. He was not very nervous at all and quickly replied, Teacher Zhang, you don't know, when the crew auditioned, Xinyuan originally auditioned for the role of Qing Yuan, and she had already succeeded in the audition, but Zhang Ziyu stepped in and took the role away from Xinyuan again because of her fame. When I went to audition for other roles, I happened to be spotted by a passing director, and that's why I got the job as a stand-in. That's why I said that this role was meant for me. Having finished saying what she had been holding in her heart for a long time, Han Jiaojiao's face turned pale when she calmed down. She spoke happily just now, but she forgot one thing. It seems that I also complained to the assistant director in charge of the audition. Thinking of this, she carefully looked at Zhang Lingzi's expression. Zhang Lingzi's expression seemed as if she didn't hear the underlying complaint at all. She just didn't expect that the role of Qing Yuan would go through such twists and turns before being confirmed. It seems that during the period when filming was started, Pei Xinyuan could only watch on the set as his role that was supposed to belong to him was played by the Snatcher. How forbearable was he at that time? Not to mention that while enduring these things, he was still doing his job meticulously. To be honest, few people can do it and stick to it. Facing the cautious eyes of the two little girls in front of him, Zhang Lingzi smiled and reached out to brush away a petal that fell on Pei Xinyuan's shoulder. So, this character can be regarded as returned to its original owner. Pei Xinyuan couldn't help but move due to the gentle brush on his shoulder. Pei Xinyuan breathed a sigh of relief and looked expectantly. Is Sister 11 here to see me? Well, there will be a scene between the two of us later, so I'll come over in advance to have a scene with you. Pei Xinyuan restrained her excitement and nodded hastily, okay. If she remembered correctly, in the scenes between Emperor Yuan Zhao and Qing Yuan a few days ago, Zhang Lingzi had never approached Zhang Ziyu in advance. Upon seeing this, Han Jiaojiao said goodbye and walked away. Asterisk. Nothing unusual happened on the set all morning, and everyone in the crew breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the incidents yesterday morning and afternoon were just accidental incidents. There should be no vomiting of blood or broken bones on the set. But this breath was a bit too early for Wei Xiao. Tell me again, what's going on with Lin Suifei? The head of the publicity team who rushed over to report looked at the mineral water bottle that had begun to deform in Director Wei's hand, and silently handed over the tablet in his hand. Director, why don't you watch it yourself? He was afraid that if he repeated it again, the half-empty mineral water bottle would be thrown directly at his head by the health director. Wei Xiao took a deep breath before reaching out and taking the tablet. He didn't care that the person who handed the tablet took 3 steps back and looked down at the entertainment hotspot on the screen that was rising in real time. These days happen to be the annual Unified National College entrance examination time, and it can still occupy a certain degree of popularity during this period. Regarding this, Wei Xiao just wanted to say, the surprise Lin Suifei gave him was really too big, and he was very excited. Do not want. The other side. Zhang Lingzi also just took the mobile phone that Lu Zhengzheng gave her. Sister Zixi, something happened over there with Lin Suifei. Lin Suifei, Zhang Lingzi didn't think of such a person for a moment. After all, this person asked for leave from the crew after attending the opening ceremony, saying that he had to catch up with other announcements. Having not shown up for so many days, and also paying attention to the progress of Zhang Ziyu, she naturally forgot about Lin Suifei, who was in the same dressing room. What happened to her? The announcement that Lin Suifei attended was a lifestyle variety show, which was broadcast live and recorded. There was a link in this morning's program where she sent a video invitation to the person who was pinned to the top of her friends on the mobile phone, and invited her friends to complete it together remotely. Challenging tasks. In order to prevent guests from operating in secret, the program director even collected his cell phone beforehand and only sent it when he needed to make a video. Then something happened. Well, Lu Zhengzheng nodded with a complicated expression. It doesn't matter that the person Lin Suifei sent the video invitation to is a person of the opposite sex. Other guests also invited people of the opposite sex. The key is that after the video is connected, the person opposite will come directly. She said, "Why, you called me so early, you missed me." The tone was very ambiguous, and Lin Suifei immediately hung up the video. But at that time, more than 10 million people in the live broadcast room heard the sentence. Well, even though Lin Suifei was quick to hang up, many viewers quickly took screenshots, and the man's appearance has already spread all over the internet. Zhang Lingzi. She just remembered the news that Wei Minmin revealed to her not long ago, so this should be regarded as Lin Suifei's large-scale horse capture scene. When she raised her head, she saw Wei Minmin walking towards her with a gossipy look on her face. She was sure that what this girl was going to say later was also related to Lin Suifei. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 192. Hey, Sister 11, have you heard about it? Zhang Lingzi, Lin Suifei. It seems you know it too. However, this did not affect Wei Minmin's enthusiasm for sharing gossip. She sat over and handed a handful of melon seeds, chewing them while complaining, "I said her matter will explode sooner or later, but she didn't. I thought it would explode so quickly. I said she shouldn't have set up a character with her fans that she is single and only wants to pursue a career." Now, she went back on her words during the live broadcast. "I heard that she has several male fans. I have publicly announced my departure from the fandom." Taking a sip of the mineral water handed over by Zhang Lingzi, Wei Minmin turned her head and thanked her, and continued to complain, "But I think this is not the most serious thing." Although Lin Suifei quickly cut off the video to cover up, the man's face was still covered after taking a screenshot. It won't take long for netizens to find out who it is, but Lin Suifei is still worried. Zhang Lingzi took the melon seeds from her hand and pointed her in the direction of the director. "We can't see if Lin Suifei is in a state of distress right now, but it seems like our director is already in a state of distress. The smile on Wei Minmin's face suddenly froze, and she coughed dryly to cover up her embarrassment. How could I have forgotten this? But if Lin Sui's matter continues to ferment like this, it will be a matter of time before she is replaced. This time Zhang Lingzi nodded in agreement. The health director should have already talked to Lin Sui, but this happened anyway, and the main responsibility undoubtedly lies with Lin Sui. In addition, the current promotional photos of the production team have not promoted the fourth female lead, Princess Jinan, and Princess Jinan's role has not been filmed, so the losses of the production team can be minimized. Lu Zhengzheng silently stepped aside after Wei Minmin came over, playing the role of quiet listening with Zhang Lingxiu. At this moment, he suddenly asked, "Does the actor who plays Princess Jinan have to be recast?" Wei Minmin nodded, "That's for sure." He looked at Zhang Lingzi with bright eyes. Others in the crew didn't know, but she knew it very well. Not only the previous male protagonist who embarrassed his uncle, but also the role of Qing Yuan that was vacated after Zhang Ziyu left, were all recommended by Zhang Lingzi. The key is that both Mr. Shen in the front and Pei Xinyuan, who just appeared on the set as Qing Yuan today, performed very well under the camera. Mr. Shen was stunning when he appeared on the scene. Although Pei Xinyuan was not as stunning as the former, in this morning's scene, compared with the previous scenes shot by Zhang Ziyu, anyone with eyes can see that Pei Xinyuan's performance is comparable. Zhang Ziyu is much better. Even she couldn't help but want to say, Zhang Ziyu quit well, otherwise she wouldn't have seen a better performance of the role of Qing Yuan. In view of the two previous important recommendations, this gave her blind confidence in Zhang Lingzi's vision. Sister 11, do you have anyone you think is suitable to recommend? Zhang Lingzi, are you treating me as a first-aid actor library? Wei Minmin chuckled and said, I just think that if you have a suitable candidate, my brother-in-law will definitely give him priority. The candidate for Princess Jinan. Zhang Lingzi paused as she spoke, and a figure unexpectedly appeared in her mind, but she quickly dismissed it. I really can't think of a suitable candidate. Then I can only let my uncle have a headache. There were many people who auditioned for Princess Jinan, but he chose Lin Sui. Otherwise, Lin Sui's acting skills are still good. At least Lin Sui was able to imitate Jinan's natural frailty to 60–70%. It's just that in her eyes, the appearance is still similar but the spirit is not. But since a modern person plays an ancient person, she can't have too high requirements. When the crew stopped working for lunch at noon, everyone had their mobile phones in their hands. Originally they just wanted to kill time by browsing videos or novels, but soon the topic of discussion became, Lin Sui's character collapse. Lu Zhengzheng also followed suit. When Zhang Lingzi was drinking water after lunch, she saw her staring at her phone and exclaimed, Is there any new news? Zhang Lingzi felt that she didn't need to check her phone at all, she could just eat enough news from people around her. The identity of the man who received Lin Sui's video has been revealed. So fast. The main reason is that Chen Rui cannot be considered an ordinary person. The second son of the Zhongjiang group usually likes to show off luxury cars and mansions. He has hundreds of thousands of fans online. Netizens are speculating that Lin Sui is looking for this boyfriend. It cannot be an ordinary person like an office worker, and the target is also young and is more likely to be a rich second generation, so the scope is suddenly much smaller. Zhang Lingxiu suddenly interrupted, that Zhongjiang group that sells liquor. Zhang Lingzi raised her eyebrows, you know. Zhang Lingxiu nodded with a cold face, sister, you have forgotten that when we were young, the villa our family lived in was not far from Chen's house. You and Chen Rui went to the same school. Zhang Lingzi. The original owner's memories in recent years were all vague, let alone what happened when she was a child. She nodded without any psychological burden, I forgot about it a long time ago. Hey, someone just liked Lin Sui directly, claiming to be the fiancé of Er Xiao Chen. Oh my god, this is... Lu Zhenzhen temporarily swallowed back the next words, and instead said silently in her heart, "This it's so exciting. It's already so lively online that it feels like it's the Chinese New Year." The lifestyle variety show that Lin Suifei participated in has always been very popular, otherwise she would not have asked the crew to take time off to film. This also led to the fact that when she overturned during the live broadcast, too many people saw her panicking and shutting down the video. Curiosity is almost a common trait of human beings, which in turn triggers everyone's urge to continue exploring. So even though the show had urgently suspended the live broadcast, the matter still broke out. Zhang Lingzi looked at the mobile phone that Lu Zhenzhen handed over. The entries about Lin Suifei had climbed to the top of the hot spots. The top 3 were all about this year's college entrance examination. Such a comparison, I have to say it is a bit ironic. She heard that celebrities and artists in the industry all hope to be on the hot searches. The higher the ranking, the higher the popularity. But she thought that even if it had climbed to the top of the hot search list, Lin Suifei would never be happy at the moment. Zhang Lingzi did not click on the hot searches about Lin Suifei that Lu Zhenzhen originally wanted her to see. Instead, she clicked on the top searched entry, online interviews with college entrance examination candidates. Clicking on the first video, a young man in a blue school uniform smiled shyly at the camera. As for the math questions, today's paper was indeed a bit difficult. Fortunately, I solved the last big question in the last few minutes. I just don't know if I am right. The reporter holding the microphone smiled and encouraged, "Young man, you must have confidence in yourself." Lu Zhenzhen and Zhang Lingzi, who heard the conversation, both looked at the mobile phone held by Zhang Lingzi. "This is interview with college entrance examination candidates." The two looked at each other. Everyone around is paying attention to the progress of Lin Suifei's character design, but this one is better, because the focus is so different. Zhang Lingzi answered them and at the same time clicked on the first video uploaded by the reporter. The little girl wearing light-colored sweatpants and a white polo shirt wanted to sneak away by the side of the road to avoid the microphone being handed to her, but was stopped by the reporter first. "Little sister, don't leave yet. I just want to ask a few questions. Please give me an interview opportunity." "Wow, my little sister is still a student of Nanjing No. 3 Middle School, awesome." Zhang Lingzi was about to look away, but when he heard the words Nanjing No. 3 Middle School, he couldn't help but glance at it. At this sight, his eyes suddenly widened. "Su Ling'an. Is she already in her 3rd year of high school?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 193. Zhang Lingzi paused the video, frowned and looked at Zhang Lingzi. "You don't know." Zhang Lingzi's mouth trembled, and it took several seconds to hold back the words, "Then you didn't tell me either." The first time he met Su Ling'an, he thought he was in the 1st grade of high school due to his skinny appearance. If he hadn't just happened to see this video, he wouldn't have known that he was already in his 3rd year of high school and was almost finished answering this year's college entrance examination questions. Zhang Lingzi, oh. She seemed to have never told anyone at home what grade Su Ling'an was in. But is this a problem? Pretty no problem. Do you deserve to be so surprised? It was only then that Zhang Lingzi realized that he had overreacted. He pursed his lips and lowered his head, suppressing the panic in his heart that the gap was getting wider and wider. "Ahem, video, sister, I haven't finished watching the video yet." Zhang Lingzi looked at the boy's head that was looking towards him without any trace, and clicked on the video again. So while everyone else was still discussing Lin Suifei, the 3 people here were quietly watching the college entrance examination interview. The little girl who just came out of the examination room behind her seemed to have a temperament that didn't know how to reject others. At this moment, Facing the reporter's interview, she just frowned slightly and nodded helplessly. I heard that this year's math test paper is not very easy to answer. It is more difficult than expected. What do you think, little sister? The interview is conducted in the crowd, and other candidates' answers to this question can be heard in the video. It's not that it's a little difficult, I think it's so hard that it'll explode. The only thing that is certain is the multiple choice question. I couldn't understand the last big question, so I just wrote down the explanation. The little girl who was asked by the reporter lowered her eyes and looked at the microphone stretched out in front of her. After being silent for 2 seconds, she nodded lightly and said, "It is indeed a bit difficult." The half of the microphone exposed in the video paused for a moment, obviously not expecting to receive such an unusual answer. The reporter's voice also became a little more excited. "So, little sister, are you done?" "Well, I only had time to check it once." Reporter: "It seems that my little sister is very confident in herself. Keep it up. I also wish my little sister to achieve excellent results in this year's college entrance examination and get admitted to the ideal university. Thanks." The video finished playing, and the last shot showed the direction of the little girl running away. The young man in gray short sleeves held an umbrella in his hand, and held an old man with gray hair in his other arm. Both of them looked like they had been waiting for a long time. The figure of the little girl running towards them was much more lively than when she was being interviewed just now. Visually, this little sister is a top student, Lu Zhengzheng concluded in a low voice, and then thought of the conversation between the siblings just now. Sister Zixi and brother Xiaoxu know her. The siblings nodded together, and Zhang Lingzi even agreed, she is indeed very good at studying, a very smart little girl. Zhang Lingzi continued to be silent, which made Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but glance at him again, her eyes falling on the boy's dim eyebrows. "Are you feeling inferior?" Having said what was on his mind, Zhang Lingzi stood up silently, squatted down facing the corner, and began to be in a daze. Lu Zhengzheng saw him going to the corner to plant mushrooms without saying a word. "What's wrong with brother Xiaoxu?" Zhang Lingzi continued to watch the video, waved her hand and replied, "Don't worry about it. Some things can only be figured out by oneself." Asterisk. In a small hotel next to the college entrance examination room. Su Linghan had just finished eating the lunch in the thermos box in front of him when he was urged by his grandma and brother Xiaoli to go to bed to rest. "I'm not sleepy yet." "Then play with your phone for a while and then go to sleep." "Okay, Grandma will stay with me." Su Lei booked a standard hourly room with 3 single beds, which he could only use during lunch break. He was lying on the outermost bed, quietly watching over his grandfather and grandson on the bed next to him. "Hey, my sister just sent me a message. Isn't that kid filming?" "Well, it's in the film and television city that was just built a few years ago on the outskirts of Beijing. After the college entrance examination is over, let's choose a good weather and I will take my grandma to go shopping together. Then I'll be waiting." Gao Lan agreed to the agreement with a smile. "Let's see what message your sister Zixi sent you." Su Linghan opened the unread message that had just been sent in anticipation. After reading it, his face turned a little red. He turned around and saw his grandma raising her chin and squinting. He realized that grandma couldn't see the words on the screen clearly without reading glasses, so he had to holding back her shyness. She muttered, "Grandma, the message from my sister is this, and when I was watching videos on the set, I saw a video of a reporter interviewing our primary school bully on the internet. It's great, keep up the good work." Gao Lan also saw when his granddaughter was stopped by reporters for an interview, but he didn't expect that the video would be posted online so quickly. Su Lei had already taken out his second-hand mobile phone and started searching silently. At the same time, he explained to the elderly who were not familiar with the speed of information circulation nowadays, "That's not it, Grandma. Now you only need a mobile phone. You can do anything. Edit an article. The video can be finished in just a few minutes. Sister Zixi can see it so quickly because the most popular thing on the internet is about the college entrance examination. Once the video is posted, many people will see it. While he was talking, he had already searched for the video of Su Ling'an's interview. Even though he had just said it clearly, when he saw the playback volume displayed in the lower left corner of the video, he still couldn't help but take a breath. It's too fast to play. A million. Millions. Are there a million people who have seen an on their mobile phones? Gao Yian's heart skipped a beat, and he moved his lips, but swallowed back his unfinished words. But Su Ling'an had grown up under the old man's knees since he was a child. He just saw his grandma being suddenly silent. After thinking about it for a moment, he guessed what the unfinished words just said were. My mother has been missing for so many years. Trying to find traces in this vast sea of people is like looking for a needle in a haystack. But now a short interview video is seen by more than 1 million people in less than an hour. What if, among the more than 1 million people, one of the people who saw the video happens to be a mother? Can mother still recognize that she is an? If she had known that the number of views would be so high, she should have introduced herself in front of the camera. After all, what if? The grandfather and grandson looked at each other, and Gao Lan patted the child's shoulder with relief. Okay, go to bed quickly, there is an exam in the afternoon. Don't think about anything now, the most important thing is to be mentally prepared for the exam in the afternoon. I know, Grandma, I'll go to bed after sending a message to Sister Zixi. Zhang Lingzi was lying on the folding chair in the temporary restroom. As she slept in a daze, she felt her cell phone vibrate on the table beside her. When she picked it up, she saw the message Su Ling'an had sent her. Sister, it's hard work filming. I'm waiting for the college entrance examination. Can my grandma and I go to the film and television studio to visit? Welcome. After reading the message, Su Ling rested in her grandmother's arms and closed her eyes with contentment. Grandma, let's go visit my sister at that time. I'm going to sleep first. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 194. In the evening, the sky was covered with large swathes of fire clouds, and it was expected that tomorrow would be another excellent weather day. It's just that some people are happy and some are worried. The college entrance examination students who had just finished the last exam paper could not help but start celebrating the most important exam in their lives that had just ended. The crew of Empress Yuan Zhao also just received the director's voice. Okay, that's it, call it a day. The crew, who had been busy all day, breathed a sigh of relief. Stepping out of the set full of equipment, Zhang Lingzi took Lu Zhengzheng back to remove her makeup, and then told Zhang Lingxiu to go to the hotel recommended by Wei Minmin to get a reservation in advance. Tomorrow, Zhang Lingxiu's 3-day assistant career will come to an end. The child ate the crew's box lunch with her for 2 days in a row, and was even frightened because of her vomiting blood. He was about to leave, and Zhang Lingzi was going to take him to eat something good in the evening. She thinks that this sister is quite qualified. Walk all the way to the door of the dressing room, and see Wei Minmin, still wearing the attire of a personal guard, standing outside the dressing room. Why don't you go in? If she remembered correctly, this girl finished work more than 10 minutes earlier than she did. Is the dressing room door locked? Lin Suifei is inside, and Queen Shiying is also there. Zhang Lingzi paused in pushing the door, then knocked on the door first to indicate that someone was coming in from outside, and then pushed it open. He came face to face with two faces that didn't look very good. Shiman's makeup has not yet been taken off. She is wearing a majestic and graceful queen's makeup, but you can faintly see the impatience she is trying to suppress. As for the other person in the room, Zhang Lingzi raised her eyebrows when she looked over. This must be the first time she saw Lin Suifei looking so haggard. He had a plain face and his eyes were still a little swollen. It looked like he had been crying for a long time. There was a bitter look on her face despite her weakness, which made people unhappy just by looking at her. Wei Minmin followed Zhang Lingzi in. After feeling the silence in the dressing room, she coughed lightly. "The crew is done, we are back to remove makeup. You continue, don't worry about me and Sister 11. The implication is, just keep talking about whatever you were talking about just now, just pretend they don't exist." Shimin looked at Lin Suifei, who was speechless for a moment because of the arrival of Zhang Lingzi and Wei Minmin. She simply walked around her and walked to her dressing table to sit down. "Hurry up and take off my makeup. I have to go home today trip." Lin Suifei wanted her to help plead with director Wei based on their past friendship, so that she could stay on the crew and continue filming. She had been pestered the moment she came back, and she was already impatient. As for friendship, if she chats about beauty or gossip when the crew is bored, or goes to a hotel to book a meal together from time to time, then she has friendship with most of the people she has worked with in the industry. What kind of friendship is this? Just because Lin Suifei could not threaten her status, she was willing to be an approachable actress. And this shallow friendship does not allow people to take advantage of her. Is the work over there on the set finished? Wei Minmin had already sat on the makeup stool. After hearing this, she subconsciously glanced at Lin Suifei in the mirror and said, "Well." Before she could finish her words, the other party turned and walked towards the door. "I'm going to find the director of health." Wei Minmin watched Lin Suifei leave and said lightly, "I had known this, why did I do it in the first place?" Needless to say, Lin Suifei came to the set in such a hurry and looked so pitiful. No doubt she wanted to win everyone's favor. Pity. As for the purpose, naturally it is to stay on the set and continue filming. After all, there is no way to recover from the collapse of the character nowadays. The best way is to let the crew block the storm, hide behind and settle down and stay with the crew to film. By the time the show starts airing, the storm should have calmed down long ago. At that time, it will be enough to use this drama to return to the public eye. After all, everyone is very busy, so how can we have so much energy to hold on to something that seems to have little to do with us? This calculation is extremely accurate. But the entertainment industry is not a warm place. Everyone here has a heart that desperately wants to climb up and kick down those who compete with them. Anyway, as far as she knows now, in just one afternoon, many agents have already contacted the crew, targeting the fourth female position that will be vacant soon. She didn't think that with her brother-in-law's character, she would let Lin Suifei stay because she was so haggard. Maybe after seeing Lin Suifei, she will directly get angry and ask people to get out. The facts are similar to what Wei Minmin imagined. Wei Xiao had been busy all day and had just asked someone to make him a cup of throat tea. Before he could drink it, Lin Suifei rushed in from outside with red eyes. He was so frightened that his hands shook and he almost spilled a cup of hot tea on his pants. "You came back pretty quickly. If I remember correctly, your vacation won't end until tomorrow. Come to me to beg for mercy, no way. Director Wei, please give me another chance." Lin Suifei didn't need to look in the mirror to imagine how pitifully she would cry. After all, her previous crying was staged, but this time she was really crying. Since the live broadcast accident occurred in the morning, the lifestyle variety show had originally intended to renew her contract, but now there was no news. Then several endorsements and 2 magazine covers that were being negotiated immediately interrupted the negotiation, and neither the company nor the agent responded. Up to now, in addition to the endorsements and cooperation she has already had, the only job she has left is playing the role of Princess Jinan in Empress Yuan Zhao. It is not an exaggeration to say that this job is her life-saving straw, otherwise she would not have come back in such a hurry. However, no matter how miserable Lin Suifei cried, Wei Xiao only felt noisy. He took out his mobile phone and scrolled through the video to isolate himself from the crying, while saying coldly in a hoarse voice, "Didn't I remind you? Or do you think I am a living bodhisattva in the entertainment industry? I feel soft when you cry. From the beginning to the end, it's all just a matter of luck, and I still haven't changed my mind. The artist on the crew made a mistake and tried to help with the matter. Ever since he became a director, he has never done anything that has wronged him. If this happened to his eldest niece, he would not show favoritism, let alone just there aren't many actresses that can be replaced with deep friendships. Lin Suifei cried for a while, but Wei Xiao didn't get angry, and just left her 3 questions in a cold voice. But this frightened her even more than Wei Xiao getting angry at her. Getting angry can at least prove that the other person is angry with her because of this matter. You don't even want to be angry, are you ready to give up on her completely? Director Wei, Hey, this little girl is pretty good. Wei Xiao took a sip of tea and liked the video he just saw. You must be a quick thinker to take advantage of the college entrance examination interview as a hotspot to advertise for yourself. After saying this, he seemed to realize that there was another person standing in front of him. If you had a brain that was even 1/3 as good as mine, you wouldn't have beaten a good deck of cards to pieces. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 195. Chapter 195. Anan is looking for her mother. In the dressing room, Zhang Lingzi was squinting and enjoying the scalp massage service kindly given by the makeup artist. I took off the jade crown that I had worn for a day and let down all my tight hair. Combined with a gentle massage, it was so comfortable that I wanted to fall asleep directly. Until Lu Zhenzhen's voice came from the side, "Sister Zixi, look." Zhang Lingzi opened her eyes and saw the screen she held in front of her. In the video, the little girl is being interviewed with a little nervousness. The first candidate who has finished the exam has already come out of the school gate. The reporter's voice outside the screen was a little excited. "Student, can you delay a few minutes for an interview?" Different from the interview she accepted in the morning when she really couldn't refuse it, this time the little girl, even though she looked very nervous, she still nodded readily, brushed the broken hair beside her ears, and her white and tender face was immediately exposed to the camera without any obstruction. Before, it seemed that my attitude was not serious. This made the reporter's tone more solemn when he asked the question again. "Today is the last test of the college entrance examination. Which subject do you think is the most difficult and which subject is the easiest?" The little girl lowered her eyes and thought seriously for a moment. "I think the difficulty level is okay, just average." Reporter, "It seems that my classmate is a top student. So what do you want to do most after the college entrance examination?" This time the little girl replied without hesitation, "Make money." This will be replaced by the reporter, "Save for tuition." She is still a very sensible little girl. She wants to use the holidays to reduce the burden on her family. But you are still young," the reporter couldn't help but remind him. "The idea of making money is a good one, but you must also pay attention to your own safety." "Thank you for the reminder." Just as the reporter was about to interview other candidates who had come out, he was stopped by the little girl. "Sister, can I say one more thing?" She pointed to the microphone and camera. Although the reporter was a little confused, she had a good impression of the little girl in front of her, so she nodded and motioned for the camera that was about to move away to move back. The little girl stood extraordinarily straight in front of the camera with a sweet smile. "Mom, I am Anan. I am already 18 years old. If you see me on your phone, can you go home and see Anan? Grandma and I are both waiting for your return." The reporter next to him was stunned when he heard this. After reacting, he couldn't help coughing slightly, and then he looked at the apologetic eyes of the little girl in front of him. "I'm sorry, sister, I took advantage of your interview." "No, it doesn't matter." "Well, your mother. I accidentally got lost, and my grandma and I are still looking for it." "Sister, will this interview be seen by many people?" The reporter's voice was a little choked. "Yes, Yes, our account has nearly 10 million fans. Many, many people will definitely see it. I wish you can reunite with your mother as soon as possible. The little girl bent her eyes were bright, and her smile made people's hearts soften. Thank you. The video ends and starts playing again from the beginning. Before Lu Zhengzheng could take the phone back, Zhang Lingzi caught it. She clicked on the comment button in the lower right corner of the video. Seeing the first half of the video, I was wondering which school this top student came from. When I saw the end, I burst into tears. The purpose of the little sister's interview is probably to use this interview video to find her mother. Although it is a little selfish of her own, I have to say that this is indeed a good way. Help me forward it. I hope my mother can see this video. I'm from the same school. I won't mention her name and class. She is indeed a real top student, and she had a chance to be recommended, but our school has a scholarship for outstanding graduates, and she can get the top 3 in the city in the college entrance examination. There are many scholarships, and Anan chose to take the college entrance examination because he wanted to get this scholarship in the 3 years of high school. I only saw her grandmother come to attend the parent-teacher conference. Many people in our school know that the grandfather and grandson depend on each other. Those in the comments who want to gain popularity can shut up. Later, I also read a review from a repeat reading institution. Anan can consider working part-time at our institution. The salary is generous and includes room and board. It should be no problem to earn enough tuition for an academic year in 3 months. Zhang Lingzi clicked on the account of this organization and looked at it carefully. She made sure it was a regular organization and left it alone. As the reporter said, there is nothing wrong with wanting to make money, but there are countless scammers in today's society. If you don't make any money, you will lose more than you lose if you lose yourself. Sister Zixi, I want to say that our crew is actually hiring temporary workers. Sister Tong is also talking about giving you a temporary assistant, even if it is only for the filming period. Don't let this good money go to outsiders. Let Sister Anan come. Working here is no safer than elsewhere. Zhang Lingzi raised her eyes and met Lu Zhengzheng's somewhat red eyes. Lu Zhengzheng hurriedly rubbed his eyes. I didn't expect that Sister Anan could be so good despite her pitiful background. So when I just watched the video, I couldn't hold it back for a moment, and I burst into tears. Zhang Lingzi returned the phone to her and whispered back, "Let me think about it." However, this somewhat silent atmosphere was quickly broken by a loud voice from the side, "Sister 11, I am also short of assistance. If you can help me, please come to me." When Zhang Lingzi turned her head and looked over, Wei Minmin didn't feel guilty at all. Just when you were watching the video, I also took a look. The little girl looks so comfortable. By the way, Sister 11, do you know her? Ah. Well, I met my sister not long ago. Even Lu Zhengzheng didn't know about this, so he was stunned when he heard this. Wei Minmin didn't think too much about it. She made friends in a wide range of people, basically doing everything. She didn't find it strange that Zhang Lingzi found a girl who was still in high school as her sister. She also said, "Voice, cool. Then you can support her directly, and my sister won't have to work so hard." Zhang Lingzi didn't even try the possibility of doing this, so she replied firmly, "She won't accept it." "Well, yes, my sister is a little girl who is soft on the outside but strong on the inside, not to mention, her temperament is quite similar to that of little Jinan in our drama." After saying this, Shiman, who had not yet left, couldn't help but glance at her. She had just forgotten Lin Suifei, but Wei Minmin's words brought her back again. Is it intentional? As soon as Shiman left, Wei Minmin blinked at Zhang Lingzi. "Sister 11, do you think Queen Shi will intercede for Lin Shuifei?" The two of them were very close before. No. After relaxing her scalp, Zhang Lingzi picked up a wooden hairpin and pulled up her hair. Shiman is a smart person. This kind of person will not let trouble get to him. Wei Minmin stood up and said with a touch of sarcasm, "Yes, smart man. The most taboo thing is to talk superficially and talk deeply." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 196. Zhang Lingzi took Lu Zhengzheng to the hotel box, followed by Wei Minmin, who was shamelessly eating. Arriving at the box, he opened the door and saw a dark head. Wei Minmin walked over without noticing and patted Zhang Lingzi on the shoulder. "What's wrong, brother? I was too tired during the day and fell asleep on the table. Is Sister 11 oppressing you like this?" Zhang Lingzi glanced at her, picked a seat and sat down. "Have you ordered?" Zhang Lingzi put the phone that was already getting hot on the table and nodded. "I ordered 2 cold dishes, 2 hot dishes, and a fish, half steamed and half braised. There are only 6 dishes. There is not enough for the 4 of us." Wei Minmin quickly sat down next to Zhang Lingzi and reached out to ring the bell to call the waiter. "The dishes here are not large, so we have to order a few more. This time, come on, I know which dishes are the best." Zhang Lingxi's original anger was diluted a lot by Wei Minmin's interference. "I couldn't help but muttered, why are you so different from what you see on TV?" Wei Minmin immediately became excited when she heard this. "Did my brother see me on TV?" "Well, I've seen your TV series, movies, and variety shows. On the TV in the canteen of the juvenile detention center. No electronic devices such as mobile game consoles can be used inside. Their only entertainment is the TV that is turned on when eating in the cafeteria." Wei Minmin waved her hand. "Hey, that's for the audience to see. It's so tiring to keep doing this in private." "That's all I do in private. Anyway, brother, you are not an outsider." Zhang Lingxiu. "Understood. Just like the nasty comments he read under the video just now, those people who talk nonsense on the internet may be just cowards in reality. There is no serious meaning in talking to these people, it will only add to your own anger." He just confused the internet with reality, so he couldn't help but curse those people online. While waiting for the food to be served, Zhang Lingxiu became the person Wei Minmin got to know. When I learned that he wanted to learn composition, I gave him a thumbs up and said, "You are ambitious." Zhang Lingzi could tell that she didn't think much of it, but she still encouraged her and said unexpectedly, "What should I say?" Wei Minmin held her chin with her fingers and thought for a while. "How should I put it? The music scene is really not prosperous now. The only famous ones are Suyin and Liao Yuehan. But more than 10 or 20 years ago, people like Suyin, basically they can't be ranked. In addition, many singers start to enter the entertainment industry as soon as they sing. There are fewer and fewer people who focus on making movies and variety shows," she said, patting Zhang Lingxiu on the shoulder. "But I have confidence in my brother, and I hope you can have a place in the music world in the future." Zhang Lingxiu was embarrassed by what she said. I am a beginner." "Well, then you'd better go to a professional school for further studies." These words were addressed to Zhang Lingxiu, but Zhang Lingzi suddenly became enlightened while listening. She knew that Zhang Wenhui and Zhang Runqing actually preferred that their son could go to college and get a college diploma like other children, so that he would not be inferior to others, but they did not dare to force them. So both sides were very cautious. Zhang Lingxiu ran away from home this time, and she guessed that a large part of the reason was that the boy couldn't stand the atmosphere at home. But what if instead of taking the cultural major, you take the art major? Tong Yu has given her advice in this regard. Compared with pure cultural subjects, if she takes the arts college entrance examination, the requirements for academic scores will be much lower. However, looking at Zhang Lingxiu's eyes lowered in deep thought, she did not express this idea. If this kid can think of it himself, the effect will be better. As soon as the food arrived, before she could even use her chopsticks, Zhang Lingzi looked at the phone on her elbow and it lit up. She was originally going to wait until she finished eating before paying attention to it, but after glancing at the profile picture that sent the message, she still put down her chopsticks. Shen Yunqing, there is new progress. I brought my computer to find you. Zhang Lingzi looked at the message and pondered for a moment, then replied, have you eaten? Shen Yunqing, who was sitting in the car with his cell phone, quickly replied, not yet. Zhang Lingzi, in the Chunjiang Tide box on the second floor of the Moonlight Hotel, Xiaoxu, Zheng and Min Min are all there. Shen Yunqing, okay, you guys eat first, I'll be there in about 10 minutes. Putting down her cell phone, Zhang Lingzi reminded the three people present who were about to use their chopsticks, there will be someone coming over later. Who? Shen Yunqing. Pa. Zhang Lingxiu and Lu Zhengzheng put back the unused chopsticks immediately. Wei Minmin slowed down a beat, paused and put down her chopsticks. There is juice, drink some juice first, the juice here is not bad. Then he rang the bell again, and the waiter waiting outside came in and ordered, the remaining dishes will be served in 10 minutes. And the wine I just ordered hasn't been opened yet, so keep it. Okay. After the waiter left quietly, Zhang Lingzi's eyes fell on Wei Minmin's face. When did you want the wine? Wei Minmin laughed dryly, I saved this before. I don't even look like an outsider, so I just wanted to use it for a drink. If Mr. Shen comes over, then forget it. In her opinion, Mr. Shen is someone who can drink tea in a quiet tea room, not someone who can drink in a hotel box. Zhang Lingxiu looked at his own sister and then at the new sister Min Min. Mr. Shen, he. What should he call him when he comes over later? Zhang Lingzi took a sip of juice and said, look at me and scream. Wei Minmin, huh? 10 minutes passed quickly or not, and there was a rhythmic knock on the box door. Zhang Lingzi looked at the three people in front of her and sat upright for a moment, come in. Shen Yunqing pushed the door in and met Zhang Lingzi's gaze at first sight, and nodded. Then he looked at Zhang Lingxiu on the side. Even he himself did not expect that his glance would be so intimidating. The young man stood up almost reflexively, and while pulling out the chair next to him, he greeted in a sonorous voice, brother-in-law, sit here. Shen Yunqing was stunned at his feet. Wei Minmin let out a duck call in an instant, Ga. Brother-in-law, what kind of brother-in-law? Who calls whom brother-in-law? Zhang Lingzi couldn't help but raise her hand to touch her forehead. For the first time, she doubted whether she had made a mistake in asking Shen Yunqing to come over to eat together. She raised her hand towards Shen Yunqing, sit down first. Then she looked at Wei Minmin, who had her mouth wide open and even ignored the image of a female star. Aren't you always curious about why I invited this Mr. Shen? Yes, now the answer is out. Wei Minmin heard Zhang Lingzi admit it in her ears, but she still couldn't believe it. You are really. This time Shen Yunqing nodded, the kind with a marriage certificate. Wei Minmin, I really paid for today's meal. Even my brother-in-law doesn't know, haha. It's worth it. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 197. However, even though Wei Minmin felt like a cat scratching her head, the meal was finished in an extraordinarily quiet and peaceful atmosphere. How could she dare to chase Zhang Lingzi and ask questions when Mr. Shen was here? And the fact that he did not choose to hide this matter from her shows that Zhang Lingzi regards her as one of his own. Although she is careless in private, she also knows how to behave appropriately. It seems that Sister 11 and Mr. Shen do not intend to expose their relationship, at least to their circle. After finishing the meal and coming out of the restaurant, Wei Minmin held Lu Zhengzheng and Zhang Lingxiu one by one, and waved to Zhang Lingzi and Shen Yunqing, who were already standing in front of the car and about to get in. You guys go back first, I'm a little full from eating, just take them two for a walk before going back. Lu Zhengzheng and Zhang Lingxiu were stunned for a moment, then nodded after regaining their composure. Yes, I'm a little bit supportive too. Me too. It happened that what she wanted to talk to Shen Yunqing about after returning was not suitable for Lu Zhengzheng and Zhang Lingxiu to hear. Zhang Lingzi simply nodded, "Don't wait too late, pay attention to safety." The three people waved their hands and turned away. Getting into the car, Zhang Lingzi saw a black laptop placed on the back seat. However, although Shen Yunqing picked up the computer after coming up, she had no intention of opening it. "Let's take a rest for a while. I'll call you when I get to the hotel." Zhang Lingzi glanced at him, nodded lightly and closed her eyes. As the confirmed female lead in a major female lead drama, her role is not unimportant. It can even be said that her role accounts for almost 2/3 of the entire script, more than the other actors combined. Coupled with the fact that she has an extremely demanding and strict director, as well as the current hot weather that is not very friendly to actors, after a day of filming, after finishing work and returning to the hotel room to eat and wash, she can lie down on the bed and instantly sleep. However, unlike other actors who rack their brains to perform a scene that satisfies the director, she didn't use much brain power when filming. It was simply that her body, which was not strong enough, could not hold on. She was also a little tired today, but she was good at hiding it, and no one else at the dinner table noticed it. But now it is certain that Shen Yunqing can see it. The car drove smoothly on the way to the hotel, and I could hardly feel any vibration while sitting in the car. With only the inaudible breathing of the people next to him and the faint scent of pine and agar wood filling the carriage, Zhang Lingzi allowed herself to relax and not think about anything for the time being. "I can't even hear my breathing." Shen Yunqing only dared to look sideways when he heard the increasingly prolonged breathing beside him. What he saw was a peaceful sleeping face. Unlike before, he occasionally saw His Majesty taking a nap a few times, but even if it was just a short rest, he would always frown slightly, as if he could not rest at ease even in his sleep. Several times he couldn't help but want to reach out and smooth it, but he was afraid that his rude behavior would wake the other person up. Even if he is a loyal minister in the eyes of the other party, if he really does this, it would be a bit over the top. This was not the first time that Zhao Ziahua, who was driving in the front, quietly looked at the rear-view mirror. At this moment, the car had already entered the hotel's underground parking lot, and he was hesitant to ask for a reminder. "I always feel that my boss can watch the end of the world just watching his wife rest like this." Fortunately, just when he found an empty parking space and was about to park, there was a car coming towards him. The headlights shone directly into the car and swayed inside the car. Shen Yunqing tried to raise his hand to the side to block it. Too late. Zhang Lingzi opened her eyes almost instantly. Her eyes were as clear as if she hadn't fallen asleep at all just now. She glanced out of the car window and said, "We'll be here so soon." Zhao Ziahua, he swore that he definitely drove at a speed of 25 miles this time, but who said that the distance between the hotel and the hotel was already close. When the car stopped, Shen Yunqing said, "You get in first, I'll sit in the car for a while and then get in." Zhang Lingzi opened the door and immediately understood the meaning of Shen Yunqing's proposal. "You understand the tricks in this circle pretty quickly, but there's no need to go to such trouble." Although Tong Yu said that in this circle, almost every artist will have various personas to present themselves to fans and audiences. Now that she has come into contact with more and more actors and actresses, she naturally doesn't find it strange to create characters. But she has never thought of deliberately shaping her own personality. She is who she is, and no one else can tell her how she should live and work. The previous life was too complicated and too tiring. In this life, she just wants to live a simple and relaxed life. Zhang Lingzi didn't mind, and Shen Yunqing naturally stopped insisting. Zhao Ziahua was left in the car. After they got off the car, they walked side by side toward the elevator. A gray nanny car drove by. Shen Yunqing almost subconsciously raised his hand and hugged Zhang Lingzi, who was walking directly outside. In this way, if there is danger, he can have the two of them switch positions immediately. Zhang Lingzi lowered her head and glanced at the hand at her side, which was about 2 centimeters away from his arm. She paused and said nothing. Wait a moment. Lin Suifei was sitting in the car and had just put a tissue to wipe her tears and nose into her assistant's hand. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught sight of two figures passing by outside the car window. Her eyes widened a bit and she stopped drinking almost without thinking. The driver who is about to accelerate the car. Is that Zhang Lingzi outside? The assistant also looked over. There was a privacy film on the car window, and the light in the parking lot was a little dark. The assistant put his face against the car window, and then he could clearly see the two figures walking away. It's Zhang Lingzi. The man next to her seems to be an actor playing the male lead. Her tone was a little uncertain. The actor who played the male lead did not participate in the script reading or the opening ceremony. After the filming started, they even took several days off to catch up on other announcements. It can be said that they have never seen the male lead until now. Real person number 1. The only impression I have is still the promotional photo that stunned the entire internet as soon as it was released. But even if there was only one photo, it left a deep enough impression on her, because she also secretly saved that photo and now it is in the photo album of her mobile phone. I couldn't help but look it up and compare it. Although one is modern and the other is ancient costume, the temperament is so recognizable. At this moment, Lin Suifei didn't care to give the assistant who secretly saved the photo a look. She looked at the two figures walking away from the car window and murmured in a low voice, "It's so late, it's just the two of them. I didn't bring an assistant with me, so let's go back to the hotel together at this time. It's really hard not to think too much." At this moment, the movements of her hands were faster than her brain. When she came to her senses, she had quietly lowered the window and temporarily commandeered her assistant's mobile phone. She aimed at the two figures walking side by side and took several pictures in succession. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 198. This time the operation went quite smoothly. There were only some minor obstacles when entering the villa, but it's a pity. Zhang Lingzi looked at the video transmitted from her laptop. There is no one in the villa. Shen Yunqing nodded. Yes, judging from the existing traces, Mei Shuiqing left here not long after you vomited blood. It went pretty fast. Has been expected for a long time. Zhang Lingzi is not surprised. She will be more curious now. How did your people get in? Moving company. Zhang Lingzi. She gave Shen Yunqing a thumbs up. In this way, even if you rummage through the cabinets in the villa, the residents next door and the property owners in the community will not suspect anything. I have to say that it is indeed a good disguise. Shen Yunqing pointed her finger at the mouse area of the laptop and pulled the video progress bar forward. Mei Shuiqing destroyed a lot of things before leaving, but she left in a hurry and some things were not completely destroyed. These are things taken in the basement of her villa. The person who took the video had a steady hand and took the video very carefully. Zhang Lingzi frowned little by little as she looked at the picture in the video. She has known for a long time that there are good and bad warlocks. A kind-hearted warlock will selflessly help others and has a sense of righteousness in his heart. On the other hand, there are some warlocks who, in pursuit of strength and even immortality, do all kinds of evil and get their hands covered with blood. She only has a competitive relationship with Zhang Ziyu. Logically speaking, she has nothing to do with Mei Shuiqing. The other party can secretly do harm to her, so the latter is the most likely, but the possibility of being deceived by Zhang Ziyu is not ruled out. Until I saw this basement and saw the eerie and terrifying patterns on the wall and floor that had not been erased in time, there was no doubt that Mei Shuiqing was an evil warlock. The video focused on what appeared to be a hexagonal pattern on the ground, and Shen Yunqing's voice sounded in her ears, although the pattern is incomplete, I have found someone to identify it, and now I am waiting for them to come to a conclusion. Zhang Lingzi looked away from those uncomfortable pictures and turned her head to the side. Do you know such a capable person? Is this personal connection too strong? To be honest, she would be a little envious. Well, he is a good warlock, and his ability is not bad. Then I'll wait for your news, Zhang Lingzi said as she stood up. I'll get a bottle of water. Shen Yunqing nodded and was about to turn off the video, which was still uncomfortable even if he watched it for the second time, when he caught a glimpse of a gray belt stretching in front of his eyes and said quickly, "Wait a minute. It's too late to remind." Zhang Lingzi only felt her waist tighten suddenly, and when she realized it, the reaction force caused the servant to fall back quickly. In desperation, she only had time to turn around, and when she was about to throw herself into Shen Yunqing's arms, she quickly reached out and pressed the button. On the back of the sofa on either side of Shen Yunqing's shoulders. Even so, the distance between the two of them was much closer at this moment than at other times. Zhang Lingzi could almost hear the rapid breathing of the person in front of her. When she raised her eyes fell on Shen Yunqing's neck. Although he is not wearing a tie, the top button of his shirt is still buttoned very neatly. Only the Adam's apple slid up and down twice uneasily. After Zhang Lingzi stood firm, she immediately pulled out her belt and stood up. She glanced at Shen Yunqing, who was still sitting motionless on the sofa, then turned and walked towards the refrigerator not far away. When she stopped in front of the refrigerator, Shen Yunqing seemed to have regained her ability to move. She took a deep breath, then felt that the effect was not very good, raised her arm and unbuttoned the top button of her shirt with one hand. I felt like I could breathe easier. Then he carefully turned off the computer with his ears raised. Zhang Lingzi took 2 bottles of water from the refrigerator and handed one over naturally. Thanks. When the words came out, not only Shen Yunqing himself, but also Zhang Lingzi could hear that his voice had a subtle change compared to before. So when Shen Yunqing drank the water and was twisting the bottle cap, Zhang Lingzi asked unexpectedly, "Am I good looking?" Shen Yunqing's hand holding the mineral water bottle tightened suddenly, almost crushing the plastic bottle in his hand. "It looks good." This question was really nonsensical, and Shen Yunqing could feel the tips of his ears burning when he answered it. I couldn't help but wonder, why did His Majesty suddenly ask him this question? If His Majesty has recognized him, then it should be impossible to ask him such a question. But if His Majesty did not recognize him, how could we explain the previous specious temptations? Fortunately, Zhang Lingzi didn't let him brainstorm for too long and quickly helped to clear up the confusion. Then your reaction just now was quite normal. Shen Yunqing. All his thoughts seemed to have been set off by a fire, and his mind rarely went blank. Looking at the figure who was hurriedly leaving with a computer in one hand and unfinished water in the other, Zhang Lingzi sat on the sofa and couldn't help but chuckle. Looks like she's a bit unfunny, she should be more restrained next time. Asterisk. When Lu Zhengzheng and Zhang Lingxiu knocked on the door and came in, they first stood at the door and looked at the entire room. Zhang Lingzi had just hung up the call from Zhang Wenhui and couldn't help but chuckle when she saw the two of them looking cautious. They have left. The two of them breathed a sigh of relief, less formal and more casual. However, Zhang Lingxiu's relaxation did not last even for a minute, when his sister raised her mobile phone towards him. "Have you not called home for several days to report that you are safe? Our mother just called come to my place and ask me if you have contacted me." Zhang Lingxiu was about to sit down when he stopped and swallowed dryly. "Sister, what did you tell our mother?" "I said you borrowed some money from me, and you seem to be in good spirits and not living on the street." Zhang Lingxiu breathed a sigh of relief. I will call my mother later to report that she is safe." Zhang Lingzi nodded. Although the child was a little rebellious, he was still sensible. "By the way, what do you think of the advice your sister Minmin gave you?" "What?" Zhang Lingxiu paused for 2 seconds before reacting. "Go to a professional school to study." Well, Zhang Lingzi was not polite at all when facing her family. I can see now that you are not someone who can calm down and study wholeheartedly. When I go back tomorrow and play with your bandmates, you can check it out yourself and tell me about the college entrance examination for art students. The sofa in the hotel room was big and soft. Zhang Lingxiu slept on it for the past 2 days. It was more comfortable than the basement rented by his band. But this time he rarely had insomnia. Although he had already mentioned once that he wanted to give up the college entrance examination and go to university and instead find a way to learn composition, when he was watching videos today and saw interviews with Su Linghan and other college entrance examination students, he was deeply touched. Will art students take the college entrance examination? Will they also have the opportunity to step into the college entrance examination room instead of just watching through the screen like today? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry. Author, Press 11. Chapter 199. The studio was extremely quiet and peaceful. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that the chief director is in a bad mood, and even the assistant directors are cautiously doing things with their tail between their legs. As for the reason, Zhang Lingzi found out early in the morning from Wei Minmin, who was the most well-informed. Lin Suifei came out of the director's office crying yesterday. Her agent came over that night and signed a termination contract with the crew. As a result, the position of the fourth female lead is vacant, and the role of Princess Jinan is about to be filmed. If she were to be the director, she would have to rush to do it. Originally, there would be occasional fishermen on the set. When everyone had nothing to do, they would take out their mobile phones to read video novels and other things to pass the time. This time, everyone calmed down, for fear of being caught accidentally. Everyone tensed up, and the effect was particularly remarkable. The shooting efficiency on that day was significantly improved, but as a director, Wei Xiao still failed to show off. The faster he shoots, the closer he gets to the scheduled scene of Princess Jinan. He doesn't even have a suitable actor on hand now, so how will he shoot it then? But even so, he does not regret terminating the contract with Lin Suifei. His crew can't tolerate artists who have trouble and don't know what went wrong. However, it is urgent to find an actor who can play Princess Jinan. Everyone in the crew was doing their work meticulously and cautiously for fear of accidentally offending the director. Even Wei Minmin stopped eating her watermelon seeds and recited her lines with a serious attitude while holding the script. Zhang Lingzi also had a book spread out in his hand, but it was not a script, but one of the boxes of textbooks that Tong Yu sent as an errand in the morning. Her nephew, who had just finished the college entrance examination and estimated that his grades were not bad, and said that he would never need these books again, kindly gave them to her. This is after Tong Yu determined that his artist needed to relay the foundation, so he made a reservation with his nephew in advance. I just finished the last subject of the college entrance examination yesterday, and I have been working non-stop to find someone to deliver it to me today. Zhang Lingzi, who received such a highly anticipated gift early in the morning. I feel bad that even if I read it over again, I still feel sorry for my agent's good intentions. When she came to the set, she asked Lu Zhengzheng to take 2 high school textbooks and put them in her bag. It just so happened that today no one dared to play games on their mobile phones. She was reading a book in the rest area, which was not out of the ordinary at all. The only person who expressed confusion was Zhang Lingxiu. At first he didn't pay attention to what book his sister was reading during her break. It wasn't until his sister and sister Zhengzheng got together to discuss a calculation problem that he realized something was wrong with the book. I took a closer look and saw that the senior high school textbook, Mathematics, Compulsory Course 1. For a moment, I almost suspected that there was something wrong with my eyes. Is it normal to read this kind of book for no reason? He endured it again and again, but when others came back to rest, he still couldn't hold it in anymore. "Sister, why are you reading your high school textbook?" Zhang Lingzi raised her head, met the eyes of the curious baby Zhang Xiaodai, and asked instead, "What do you think? You can't be preparing for the college entrance examination, right?" Zhang Lingzi replied subconsciously. Facing the still calm and smiling face in front of him, he suddenly leaned back and almost overturned the folding chair under him. He finally managed to stabilize his balance with a look on his face. Hesitating in disbelief, "No, it can't be. How is this impossible?" Zhang Lingzi raised her eyebrows and tapped the little idiot in front of her on the forehead with the spine of the book. "I can't have the heart to learn." Zhang Lingzi covered his head and sat blankly for a while before finally digesting the news. "Sister, are you really planning to take the college entrance examination? Well, do you want to go to the examination room together next year?" Zhang Lingzi felt that he was not as bold as his sister, but he was a bit timid by rejecting it directly. Let me think about it." He has to think about it? Zhang Lingzi smiled, lowered her head and continued to chew on the math textbook in her hand. "Not to mention, the doorways in these calculations are quite interesting to think about carefully. Even if you just look at it yourself, it is still a bit difficult." Asterisk. The day flies by. Zhang Lingxia got out of the car with his backpack on his back, turned around and waved at the half-open window, and walked quickly to the bus stop not far ahead. These 3 days have been busy and fulfilling. The most important thing is that the word college entrance examination has finally taken root in his heart. The young man could not help but start to think seriously and comprehensively about the path he would take in the future. Zhang Lingzi watched him get on the bus parked on the side of the road, raised the window and told the driver, "Go back." Back in the hotel lobby, Zhang Lingzi looked at the front desk who was busy checking in. It seems that another film crew is preparing to move into the hotel. "Zheng, go to the front desk and ask if there are any free rooms." Without thinking, Lu Zheng trotted over and asked. After getting the reply, she ran back, "Sister Zixi, there are no vacant rooms today, but there will be a twin room available tomorrow. Make a reservation first." Ah! Zhang Lingzi thought of the message she had received on her way back, "Some family members will come to visit me tomorrow." Lu Zheng's eyes lit up and he was in a hurry to do it. Filming in the summer is the hardest. In the past few days, several actors' family members have come to visit the studio. Every time they come, they will treat everyone on the set to drinks and ice cream, and she has followed them several times. After making the reservation, I came back and asked, "Are they uncle, aunt, and the others?" "No, but you know the person." "I know. You'll know when tomorrow comes. By the way, let's order some drinks and fruits for everyone on the set tomorrow." Since everyone is doing this, she calls it doing as the Romans do. Asterisk. The film and television city is built on the outskirts of Beijing, with mountains to the north and many plants planted there. Coupled with natural and artificially widened waters, the weather here is much cooler than in the city as long as the sun is not shining brightly. With the arrival of summer vacation, the film and television city has gained a lot of young tourists overnight. Some people just come to enjoy the scenery, but most of them come here when they finally have free time during the holidays and want to meet actors and stars who are filming in the film and television city. If you are lucky enough to meet your favorite actors and get an autograph, it will be even more satisfying. In addition, there are also some people who come to work as extras, making money while getting up close to the stars themselves, killing two birds with one stone. Hence, the bus routes that originally led from the city to the film and television city have temporarily added several buses to the film and television city due to the coming summer vacation. The driver who ran this route finally experienced the crowds in his car early in the morning, just like a commute to work. There were many people on the bus, so we walked much slower. Su Ling'an and her grandmother set out from home early in the morning and took 3 buses. When they got on the bus leading to the film and television city, there were not many people on the bus. Just after sitting for a short time, Su Linghan gave up her seat to an old man who was about the same age as her grandmother. The old man was bringing his grandson. After thanking the little girl who offered him his seat, he glanced at the little girl's clean school uniform and short sleeves, and asked with a smile, "The little girl just took the college entrance examination? She went with her family too. Did you visit the film and television city? Her Majesty the Queen has become a god in the entertainment industry." Author, Press 11. Chapter 200. We are here to visit the class and take a look. The old lady's grandson heard the sound and took off one of his earphones. Which star's class is he looking for? Zhang Lingzi. I've never heard of this star. I want to see if I can meet Ren Yihan today. I heard that he plays the male lead in The Legend of the Fallen City. Su Linghan bulged his lips. Oh, I haven't heard of it either. To be precise, the only celebrity she knows is her sister Zhang Lingzi. You have never heard of Ren Yihan? He acted in the costume crime drama that was very popular some time ago. Have not seen. Boy, okay. The two old men smiled and watched the two children arguing next to them. The car stopped at the bus station of the film and television city, and the passengers got off one after another. Gao Lan grabbed Su Linghan's hand. After getting off the car, he squinted at the gate of the film and television city not far away and sighed, "This place is really big." Su Linghan held her hand instead and said, "Grandma, please follow me closely. There are so many people in this place, we can't get separated." Good. The old lady and the young man on the side also got out of the car, looked over, and greeted warmly, "Let's go there together." After walking for about 10 minutes, the four of them arrived at the gate of the film and television city. The two children first went to the entrance of the scenic spot to scan the QR code to enter the park, and at the same time downloaded a map of the film and television city on their mobile phones. As soon as Su Linghan came back from doing it, her grandmother pulled her arm down. "Anan, look over there. Is your name written on the sign that the girl is holding?" Su Linghan looked in the direction of her finger. When he saw his name written on the big cardboard, his face turned red. "Grandma is right, my sister should have sent someone to pick us up. We were the ones who came to visit the class, and Xiao 11 even asked someone to pick us up." Gao Lan couldn't help but laugh. Sister 1111 also has good intentions. This movie and TV city is so big, it's really hard to find when you go in. Wait for me and just let's talk to the old sisters I know. You still have someone to pick her up. The old lady was a little envious, smiled and waved her hand. "Then go quickly, don't make people wait too long, we might even run into each other later when we wander around inside." Just after Su Linghan and Gao Lan walked some distance away from the cards, the boy who had just studied the map suddenly hissed. The old lady looked at her grandson. "What's wrong?" The young man raised his hand and scratched the back of his head. "I suddenly remembered that girl just now seemed a bit familiar. From a school? No, that girl is obviously wearing the uniform of Nanjing No. 3 Middle School." When he heard Nanjing No. 3 Middle School, the young man's eyes lit up. I remembered it as he said that. He quickly looked in the direction where the girl left, but unfortunately he could only see a thin figure of her back. There was someone there 2 days ago. A very popular college entrance examination interview video. At the end, she said she is the one she wants to find. He has also just finished the college entrance examination. Although he is not in the same school but in the same class, he naturally pays more attention to it. In the end, we were just arguing about his favorite celebrity along the way, and he only remembered it now that everyone was far away. Mainly because it looks better in person than in the video. After Lu Zhengzheng learned the name of the person's sister Zixi asked her to pick up, she had a guess in her mind. At this moment, she saw an old man and a young man walking towards her, especially the younger one. She had watched the video several times and recognized him at a glance, so she immediately raised her foot to greet him. "Hello, I'm Lu Zhengzheng, Sister Zixie's assistant. Sister Zixie asked me to come and pick you up. Su Ling'an glanced at the playing cards in front of him and said, "Sorry to trouble you." Gao Lan smiled and said, "Xiao 11 is interested. Miss Lu has been waiting for a while. There are many people on the bus and it drives slowly. Just call me Zheng Zheng." Lu Zhengzheng breathed a sigh of relief after successfully picking up the person. "I found someone to rent a small electric three-wheel convertible, and I will drive you there. Thank you for your hard work, Sister Zhengzheng." Lu Zhengzheng knew from watching the video that she was a well-behaved, sensible little girl with good morals and academics. Now that they met in real life, even without the filter of the previous video, her first impression of Su Ling'an was particularly good, and so was her grandmother's. An amiable old man. Even if the two of them are dressed simply, they still look more elegant. No wonder Sister Zixie still recognizes her as her younger sister even if she is not related by blood. She also wants a sister like this. There was an internal pass for the film and television city attached to the electric tricycle, so while other visitors could only walk or scan the code and ride within the prescribed area, Lu Zhengzheng drove the tricycle and entered the forbidden area without any hindrance. Tourist visit area. Arrive. Su Ling'an looked around curiously while helping her grandmother get out of the car. Lu Zhengzheng locked the car and took the roadside to introduce to the curious two people, Grandma Gao, and this is the filming area of the studio. There are more than one crew starting filming now, plus there are people who come here to play during the summer vacation. There are too many people, so visitors are restricted from entering. Su Ling'an heard this and asked quickly, "Then will it cause trouble to my sister if we come in?" Lu Zhengzheng waved his hands quickly, No, you are here to visit the class as family members. There are also fans who have organized groups to apply to visit the class. The former is a convenience for the family members, and the latter is a benefit for the fans. So, will my sister be filming now? Well, Sister Zixie has scenes almost every day during this period. She was filming when I first came out to pick you up. I don't know if the filming will be finished. It's such a hot day. Su Ling'an raised his head and glanced at the sun that was already starting to show its power. It must be quite hard to film. Fortunately, I can also use the air conditioner while resting. As soon as Lu Zhengzheng and her grandson entered the set, Zhang Lingzi, who was acting in front of the camera, noticed it. She glanced over so quickly that the camera didn't capture it, and continued speaking her lines fluently while sitting on a chair. After Su Ling'an entered the noisy set, the first thing he saw was the figure wearing a black dragon robe. He was walking in and stopped unconsciously. Until my grandma's voice sounded in my ears, "That's Xiao 11, why is she wearing a dragon robe?" Su Ling'an came to her senses and explained to her grandmother in a low voice, "Sister plays the role of Emperor Yuanzhao, the first female emperor in our history. It's the Empress, she's so awesome." Yes, Su Ling'an nodded seriously. "The Empress is powerful, and so is her sister. Grandma, Anan, sit here." The seats were arranged early in the morning, not very far forward but not very far back. After sitting down, the grandfather and grandson took the drinks from Lu Zhengzheng. After thanking them, they quietly looked at the actors who were filming. Even though there are at least a dozen actors standing in front of the camera at the moment, the most eye-catching thing in their eyes is the black figure. Su Ling'an opened her mouth slightly, not daring to disturb her. She could only repeat silently over and over again in her mind, "Sister is so awesome, so awesome, so awesome."